Now, claims of voter and election fraud are being dismissed by the mainstream media and Democrats, but data analysts are saying otherwise. One America's chief White House correspondent, Chanel Rion, has more from Washington.
As the court of media opinion continues to insist no evidence to real-time data showing election irregularities in the 2020 election, Executive Director of Look Ahead America and former data chief for the Trump campaign, Matt Brainerd, has been doing some data legwork.
Nothing we're doing here is speculative. None of it is dependent on some mathematical theory that you may not personally understand. Everything we're presenting is actually designed to be clear to the layman that something happened that deserves greater scrutiny. Among the things we're doing is reaching out to voters directly and asking them to sign under penalty of perjury declarations and affidavits stating whether or not their account of reality, whether they voted or didn't, whether or not they requested an absentee ballot or didn't, disagrees with the state. So we found many people through our methods that have said that I did not request that absentee ballot even though the state said they did, that said that I did not cast that vote even though the state has the mark down as having cast a vote.
Under Brainerd's group Voter Integrity Project, Brainerd is using 6 analytical methods to check for voter and election irregularities across 6 states.
We essentially ran 35 separate analyses across the country. And what we found is, all across the board, almost all of our analytic methods turned up, I would say, some significant findings.
In Pennsylvania, for instance, of the 1,706 respondents Brainerd called, whom the state labeled as absentee ballots, 556 of them told Brainerd's group they had never requested the ballots. Of the 1,137 who did request absentee ballots, 453 mailed their ballots back. Yet, Pennsylvania did not count their ballots. These are just the people Brainerd has called. Another method Brainerd is using to measure irregularities is the rate of dead people voting and ineligible voters using a national database, and consistent and alarming irregularities can be found in each category as well.
And we've also been able to find a significant number of double voters, so people who cast ballots in multiple states. And we expect those numbers to continue to rise as states release more data regarding people who turned out to vote on election day. But one thing that has stuck out like a sore thumb, I would say, is in the state of Wisconsin, where we discovered something we weren't even really looking for, we just came across it, is that historically, the number of people who've requested an absentee ballot on the basis of being indefinitely confined each election has been around 1,000, sometimes less. What's unique about this request, though, is it's the only way to get an absentee ballot without having to show an ID. Yet this cycle, for some reason, there are over 200,000 requests and ballots cast under the indefinitely confined ballot status. So it's, I think, a pretty clear sign of some illegal activity. That is, I think, grounds to deny certification to that state.
Chanel Rion, One American News, Washington.